So let's get it.
Latidos. Anakin Latido.
Anakin 9.5 Beats. Let's talk about it. Today, I literally want to talk about producers, man. And I'm going to touch bases on the artists too. That's a fact. But the thing I really want to talk about today is the standard of creating your own beats and producing. That's what I want to talk about. And I don't want to hold you too long, but it's some interesting tips I want to give you, especially to the younger generation that's, 18 all the way up to about 25. And then, I have the breakdown for 30-year-olds and then 40-year-olds on up. It's very important that you create your own music. And that goes with the way it sounds, the formality, and the culture of what you're trying to bring to the table. So let's give it up for that real quick. All right, let's do it. By the way, I always play my beats at the beginning. You know what I mean? I enjoy doing it. It's a passion. I love doing it. Am I making money off of it? Nah, that's not the point. Because I've had my time. But don't get me wrong. If I cut one of them hard ass beats up, you know what I'm saying? I know it could be profitable for me. But I'm here to help y'all out, man. I'm here to help the younger generation. It's very important to me that that happens because y'all are the future. Not only the young people, but the older people too that's still doing it, still on the grind, haven't made it to, what I'm saying, the level of expectations that they want to go to. Well, I'm here to drop some jewels for you. I'm dropping some major jewels. All right. First of all, do you want to decide to be a producer, a beat maker, or do you want to do all of it? And my suggestion is that you do all the things at some point. Now, for the younger generation, you 18 going up to 20, 25, 30. I know the main goal is, make beats, make beats, make beats. Okay, I get that. But at some point, You should be able to do all of it. That way you will generate a lot of money. And what I mean by that, into my perspective of life when it comes to producing and beat making and recording, yes, I did all of those things. Now, if you want to do the two scenarios of both of the situations that I'm talking about, if you want to compare the two or you know, decompose it, in my situation real quick, I was married at the time. Okay. So me being married, it took a lot out of me to try to do everything. You know what I mean? I had my own studio at my house and I had my own artists. I had my own label, my own company, but I'll get into that. I sure will. So let's talk about the 18, 19, 20, all the way up to about 30 years old. Well, let's say 18 to 25. You know, you're about 13, 14 years old, you're 15 years old, and you're like, oh, I want to make beats. I want to make beats. That's how it started out, right? You know, you get Fruit Loops or you get, most of the young generation get Fruit Loops. So let's start off with that, which is no problem because that is the industry as far as making a lot of money or making money, period. Fruit Loops is where it's at. So you start out making beats, facts, and then you get consumed in just making beats, making beats, making beats, which is cool. And you can make a lot of beats. Look, think about how many beats you got to make. I see it online, which is no problem. 30, 40, 50, 60, 80, you know what I'm saying, beats in a day. Some people make about 10, average 5, 15. And you put all that time in there, right? It could be 10 minutes starting out to hours, right? Okay. And then you get so confined and so consumed in it, you end up making the same beats over again. But it's cool when you're making money because, you know, people have been saying the standard. Well, let's talk about the standard of making beats. There is a standard in the industry of what they want to hear due to the fact of the rappers these days, because no one really sings anymore. You dig? And if people sing, they're using auto tune, so pretty much anybody can sing. Or you know, they got plugins now where it can actually correct your voice for real, and make you feel like you can sing. And let's talk about singing real quick. There was a girl named Jessica Simpson. Look her up, Jessica Simpson. She was Ashley Simpson's sister, younger sister. Ashley Simpson could sing. You know what I mean? Live vocals, everything. And you know, back then they didn't really have auto tune on the mic, and you know the DJ could correct this and do that. Especially in the 80s, 70s, 60s, and 50s, you literally had to be a pure singer to even do an album. You know what I mean? And then when you go out on stage, that's when everybody could determine if you could sing or not. This is factual. But now they have everything corrected in the mic. So whatever you do, have you do it, whether you can sing or not, it's total control. The engineering controls everything, which they always do. All right. So think about it. If that's the case, then it should be easier for you to make beats, right? Produce and sing and write. And that's what I want to get into. So for the younger beat makers, you know, you make beats all over again, over again, over again. You make the same beats. And then now you know, as far as the way the world is designed now, the industry has everybody making the same beats. Not discrediting the industry, not discrediting the people, that's fine. You know, all the plugins and the VSTs. And every time I look up, it's a fact that, oh, well, let's get this particular VST. Let's get this particular package. When one person get it, everybody get it. All right, that's a fact. So now everybody's starting to sound the same. Everybody's using the same packages. And you know who's benefiting from that? The companies. And then it's getting to the point where, you know, if you do buy these packages and you do become successful, you have to sell these packages or sell these products, which is cool. Anytime you want to make some money, you got to do what you got to do. If I wanted to take the opportunity to do that, I ain't gonna lie, dog. I'll probably do it too. That's major. So that's why everybody in the industry that's singing and rapping, they all sound the same. They all going with the same formality. And as consumers and as big fans, it's gotten so bad to we have to hear that one particular sound. We have to hear that one particular beat. We have to hear that one particular rap. If you're not making beats like the industry wants you to, if you're not rapping like the industry wants you to, then guess what? You shit out of luck, man. So my whole thought process with this whole situation is who is going to be the next, you know what I'm saying, producer that comes out in 2025 and up that's going to change the game. And it's a whole breakdown that I want to go into. Who's going to change the game? Who's going to take those sounds that we all buy from these companies and rearrange the sound? Who's going to do that? Who's going to really look at their program, analog program, or who's really going to play the keyboard and really make beats on, you know what I mean, the pads and flip mode the situation? It's one person that really comes to my mind that really changed the whole game, and I think I said that in my other lives. It was Timberland. You know, you had all these other producers that came out, you know, and they did their thing. I could name about 15, 20 of them, but I don't even got time to do all that. But it's the truth. When Timberland came out, he changed the whole pattern as far as making beats, just making the beats alone, however he did it. And then his sound, I wouldn't say was up the bar like everybody else. At the time when he first came out, you could pretty much tell, you know, that was Timberland because he had pretty much the same sounds, but the way he did his beats and kind of corresponded everything together, you know what I'm saying, made it one big project. He was able to come up with his own sound and nobody could duplicate it. Like none of the other producers. Now, my favorite producer was Dr. Dre when it comes to all around. And even Dr. Dre had his own formality. And you know you got a good producer when you listen to a song or listen to a beat, no matter if it's R&B or if it's hip hop, you know, anything. Dr. Dre, you could tell that was him. Like Jermaine Dupri, they all had a signature sound. They all had a signature movement when they came out with other R&B artists or rappers or hip hop artists, whatever you want to call it. But now you can't tell who is who. The only way you could tell if a producer or a beat maker made the beat is tags. And it's so crazy because back then, nobody had to tag their music. You knew who that was. You knew who made that beat. You knew who produced that song. Also, you could really check the credits. Ain't nobody checking credits these days. Ain't nobody looking to see who did this, who song the composer, unless you really about that life. But yeah, now, you know, everybody does the same thing. Everybody makes the same sounds because we all buying the same stuff. And yes, it sounds cool. But here's just some tricks and some tips that I feel like you should do. This goes out to the beat makers that's coming out, or that's already out, or that's trying to get all the way to the top and working with other, you know, top famous artists. I think a beat, person that made beats or produced, they should be the ones to dictate what real artists can do on the mic or during the song. And that don't mean you got to be the best composer in the world. That don't mean you got to know how to put 16 bars here, 16 bars here. You know, track it up and tell a, you know, what? Let's say you had an artist with you, right? And you don't know what to do, but you just made the beat. I'm talking about for the ones that don't know how to track everything. That could probably be the dopest doggone song ever made, or dopest beat with a person getting on that. You feel what I'm saying? Logically, think about it. If you just make a beat and you don't have no pattern and no way to do it, and have that person come in and y'all both just sit down and put it together. And that's one thing, Bolo, shout out to Bolo, the producer. He was like, get to know your artist. And I've done it too. I did it from 2010 for a good run to 2012. And then I did it from 2016 to about 2019. I always had talent around me because I was still working. I didn't fully commit it into the beat game or the producing game, but I have my own label, and we'll get into that soon too. Yeah, find if you're a beat maker, find you like 3 or 4 artists. Maybe I say a good 5, but only really rock with 1 or 2. And then y'all come up with your own thing. It's more to it than just making beats. Yeah, you can make 100 beats and make $3,000. You know what I'm saying? But it's quality over quantity. Now, my suggestions with the beat makers, as young, continue to do what you do, but go get you a keyboard. You know what I mean? The keyboard is the best thing to get. And you also need a drum pad of your liking. Get those 2 things. Those are the 2 things you really need if you want to change the game instead of just playing on your laptop. Now, still do your laptop because that's what you know and that's what you're great at. But to expand your horizon, a keyboard and a beat machine. You get those 2 and get whatever you want, whatever you're comfortable with. You don't have to get the top quality thing. As long as you got your analog, whether it's Reason, Fruit Loops, or Logic, it doesn't matter. It will all fit into one. And learn how to play the piano. Like I said before, you can go take some classes. You can go on YouTube, get your keyboard, man. Matter of fact, you don't gotta pay nobody. All you gotta do is get your keyboard and go on YouTube and learn how to play the piano. And you don't have to play the piano 100% like, Elton John. You feel me? You don't gotta do that. All you need is a couple of chords that you can play and just keep working on it. Because you can always make a beat in 5 or 10 minutes. And then you can actually, let me tell you what I do sometimes. If I want to take a loop or find me a loop, I start buying loops for now. I just go back to my old loops, ones I haven't used before, and I just go in there and tweak it, reverb it, delay it, compress it, add my own chords to it, and that's a hit right there. You did, or it's something that I like. That's a fact. I just gave you a tip right there. So yeah, once you get those things, work on it. Take your time out. Take a day off instead of making 10 to 20 beats a day and work on your keyboard game. Work on your pad game. If you learn those 2 things right there, it's longevity. Because you already know how to do the analog as far as on your program. So if you combine all those things together, that can make you a great producer. And let me tell you another thing I do for just the beat makers only. The beat makers only, I take my keyboard and I make my own chords. I would sit there and play around with it, and if I find a good chord, or I just match record and just play it. Now I know how to play the piano. I'm not 100% like again Elton John or Ray. Y'all know who that is, Ray Charles. But I can pretty much get down when I really want to. So what I do is I just record, smash record, and just play sounds. Just play all kind of sounds. Just keep playing them, keep playing them. And then, of course, once I keep playing them, I go back. I probably do it probably about 2 or 3, 4, 5 minutes, right? Just play chords. And then I just chop it up, cut, you know what I mean, what I like out of it. And those make my own loops instead of just going out buying loops. Again, if you with BeatStars and you with the other programs, companies, as far as sending your beats off, continue to do that because I know that's what you want to do and you want to make money. But I'm trying to help you out or just giving you advice on some things that you could do for yourself and come out with your own packages, come out with your own sound. And coming out with your own sound, that's sufficient. Play your chords, record it for about 5 or 10 minutes, and then after you do that, add your other. You can add a loop or add other sounds with what you recorded, and then you don't gotta play a beat. You don't have to make your beat right then. Just save it in your files, make it a WAV file, whatever program you use, and put it to the side. And then on them days that you get tired of, going into your other packages, go with your own package. Let's give it up for that. All right, and then eventually, after just making beats and being a beat maker, purchase you a mic, okay? Get you a mixer board or whatever program you use, start recording yourself. You feel me? Record yourself, even if you don't know how to rap. And the reason why you should record yourself if you have nobody around to do it, because you're preparing yourself to get other artists to come over. Because there's way more ways to make money than just making beats. And like I said, this is for the 18 up to 25 to 30. Get your mic, get those things, record yourself, make sure you got the right plugins with your the programs that you're using. And when you record yourself, go on YouTube and learn how to control your vocals and put your vocals together, track it out, add sound effects, auto tune or whatever they use these days. And once you start doing that, because this is what I did, this is what I have done in the past. When in 2009, I started off with my own. I started off with Reason. I got Cubase at the time. You know what I'm saying, the older version back in those days, but I had already had artists. I was a DJ before that, and then I combined all that together. And I got my artists. I had 2, 3, 4, 5, but I had one artist that always came over every day. He used to spend the night, and we would sit there. We ain't have enough sense to go on YouTube and look on there. I don't know if they probably had something on YouTube, but we literally sat there. I would record his vocals like every 2, 3 hours. He was recording something. I put it together, and that's how I learned how to master doing vocals. Now, am I a top tier when it comes to recording vocals? I feel like I'm up there, but I don't have Pro Tools. That's the stream of the week or two. I don't get it. That's the stream right there using Pro Tools. You can use whatever software you want to use, as long as it can record, and as long as you can track it out and put the vocals together. Man, you can make your own doggone production team, your own thing. And then here's the thing. Once you really like that song and you really put that song out and you do all those things together, then you could probably send it off to a mastering place or somewhere where they could really tune it up and do it. That's all, man. You can do your own. You don't have to send it off to this person down the dog next door. You dig? You don't gotta do that. You could do it yourself. It just takes time and patience. And a lot of y'all don't have time and patience. You got the time, but you don't want to make time. Let's cheer for that right there. So I already gave you a few clues on the beat makers that just want to make beats, take it to the next level, get your own sound, your own production as far as what you need to record people and yourself. Learn how to do that. Go on YouTube. And then what you want to do, once you're good at that, and you don't have to be spectacular, you don't have to be excellent, because it'll come with time if you keep doing it over and over again. Then you come out with your own label. You know what I mean? You come out with your own label, go to your state, whatever state you in, you can come up with your own company and get your LLCs. All right? You get your LLCs, that's a license for your corporation, and then you get a trademark and make sure it's copyrighted. And then you good to go. So I just told you how to build your own label, man. And I just simplified. There's other tricks and trades and other things that you have to do. But those are the basics to get you started. And I feel like most of y'all young beat makers out there, you should become producer. You should produce your own stuff. And you should have artists eventually. And you should have your own label. For a good amount of time, I would say from 2000, I would say about 4, 5-ish, up to Young Dolph. Shout out to Young Dolph, man. They had their own label, and they made more money doing independent stuff than they did getting the industry. But now don't nobody want to take the time out to have their own label, or they do, but they ain't putting out the same work because the industry has tricked them into believing that everything has to sound this way. Everybody has to rap this way. Everybody has to move this way. Well, what lane and what way are you going to create to change the game when it comes to music? That's what we waiting on. And it ain't too late for me. I could still do it. But what's wrong with trying to help everybody? What's wrong with giving everybody a different light, a different intuition about how this thing is going to flip? So you got your label, looking for artists, man. They'll come and find you if you're consistent in what you're doing. You sit out there and put your beats out online, and they seeing that, and can I get a beat? Can I get a beat? But what if you told them, right? What if you said to them, hey, listen, man, I produce too. Yeah, I record too. And another tricky thing about that is when you do start recording yourself and recording others, learn how to write your own song, man. When I say learn how to write, yeah, write your own song. Like one day when you sit there making the beat, I know most of y'all sit there and say, oh, you got it in your head, and you see how the beat go, and you see how the way it should rap because you're mimicking other artists. But just imagine you being an artist. Just imagine you being that top dog artist and you write your own stuff in your head. Write it down, man. Write it on a sheet of paper. Write it on your phone. Get on your notepad or whatever and just say boo doo 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 doo. That way, when you do have artists come in, you know how your beats go. You know how they move. You know how they sound. You know how you orchestrating them. You can help the artist that's with you, and y'all can put a masterpiece together. Let's give it up for that. Let's go. Composing. Another thing about writing is you can be a ghostwriter. And for most of y'all young people, a ghostwriter is a person that writes their own lyrics and then they send it off to other people and they actually sing or rap what you wrote down. Yeah, man. You know how many artists and producers, you know how many producers have made a lot of money just ghostwriting for other people? Think about Drake, all right? Jay-Z, okay? Lil Wayne. A lot of people don't know that Gilly the Kid, if you look at Gilly the Kid, he wrote a lot of lyrics for Lil Wayne till Lil Wayne started doggone punching in. You did. Jay-Z wrote for Dr. Dre. I'm pretty sure a lot of artists didn't write their own lyrics. And then my number one fan when it comes to R&B, Beyonce. Neo, if y'all know who Neo is, he wrote most of her shit. But it's all good. There's nothing wrong with that. Everybody got to make money in it every type of way, any and every type of way. So for the beat makers out there, I just gave you game on things that you can do to progress. All right, and then your 30-year-olds, if you still making beats, that's fine. You don't want to do nothing else. I don't know what to tell you, man. I suggest you do what I said about 10, 15 minutes ago. If you don't know how to play the piano and you don't have a drum pad, keypad, or whatever, get one. And if you do have one, you got to be slick about the situation. You already know what you're doing, so maybe you should keep buying plugins and buying VSTs and buying different packages, as far as piano, organ, synthesizers and stuff, and take it and flip it. You probably the ones that could go in there and take it and change the sound, rearrange it, and make it hit different. And y'all could take when it comes to the beats and stuff, y'all could take them 808s and flip them. You don't have to go buy packages and do that. You can if you want to, but you should know how to go in there and take it and flare it or delay it, or you know what I'm saying, cut, clip, paste. You know what I mean? Compress all your beats, uncompress, ratio, threshold. You could do that shit yourself, man. You could take Fruit Loop 808 and make it your 808. And I'm pretty sure some of y'all have already done that. Your snares. You could triple up your own snares. You could take a basic snare and triple it up with 3, 4 different snares and call it yours. All right, let's give it up for that. And I know that's what some of y'all are doing. You're taking all the snares, the hi-hats and stuff, and adding extra triple effects to it, and then calling your package. Make your money, dog. Make your money, honey. I'm cool with that. I got it. The hustle is real. Now, for the older producers like me that's 40, 50, 60 years old, I do have something I want to say about the ones that's 40s and they 50s and 60s. If you still making the same beef that you making back then and you trying to change these young people mindset of they could do it too, it's not gonna work. You gotta stay within the enemy lines, okay? You cannot sit up here and say, oh man, I've been doing this for 30 years. I've been doing this for 25 years, man. I know what I'm doing. I know you know what you're doing, but you're just not up to par. You dig? That's a fact. And the ones that's 40, 50, 60 years my age, you should already know that this thing is trending as far as new beats, new flows. People are very, very, very despiteful of the OGs like me and older because some of us really degrade them, and that's not the move. If anything, we could all learn from each other. The 40s, 50, 60 year olds, they could learn from the 15, 18, 19, 20 year olds. And then it could just be one big mass production. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with taking a little bit from everybody and coming up with your own style. But you also can't be petty and feel like you're entitled to not see what the younger generation doing. Trust me, if this could be easier back in the day, ain't no telling what we would have came up in the early 2000s and late 90s. You know what I'm saying? It would have been some crazy ish going on. Believe that. Let's clap it up. So my advice to you is, yes, the older generation, you should be buying new plugins. We all should. We should be staying up to date with what's going on. As far as the programs is concerned, I know a lot of people get different programs and want to do this and want to do this, try to recreate the sound, but you have to recreate your own sound by staying in the midst of things. And like I said, the keyboard is the most effective thing as far as changing the sound of anything. And don't be afraid to turn that reverb up a little bit more. Don't be afraid in certain sequences when you're tracking to turn the delay up and the reverb. You know what I mean? You got to come up with something different. You can't always have the same stuff. Oh, it's supposed to sound like this. It's supposed to sound like that. No, it's supposed to sound like the way you feel it should sound. That's breaking the barrier. That's breaking the chain. You know what I mean? That's why when you hear some of my beats that I put out, I know a lot of people are like, oh, no, that's not the standard way. Oh, no, you're not supposed to sound like that. It sounds the way I wanted to sound. And that's not me being entitled, but I wanted to be different. I can make an easy, fast 10-minute track too. You did. I could do that. What's the point of doing that when everybody doing the same thing? So what I do is I take time and get creative and get effective by going into elements of my program Reason that I use. I go deep down into the files, man, and be finding stuff that nobody would even think. And it's so crazy because back in the day, I go and listen to, a different plugin, and I'm like, oh no, that's not the standard way. This ain't gonna make it. But now I'm trying to redefine the masses when it comes to something simple that you can make really big. And if you know how to layer your tracks and layer, I'm saying, the functions of how to stack everything, then it's crazy how you could put something together that nobody know about. But don't be afraid to change your style, and don't be afraid to move the way you want to move. And if nobody like it, they don't like it. But the more you do it different, the more it's gonna come out effective. It's gonna be a domino effect one day. Somebody's really gonna sit down and be like, all right, I'm gonna do it like this. I'm gonna move it like that. Okay? So that's all I wanted to say today, man. Producers out there creating their own sound, creating their own wave, and that's setting the standard. When you start the standard, don't always believe in the standard. Set your standard the way you feel like it should go. And you still could go out there, like I said, go the way the industry wants you to go. But if you got your own label, what I said earlier, You got your own artist, then guess what? It's a wrap. Because now you control everything that goes on. Nobody controls what you do. Nobody can tell you, oh, that's not the standard way. Oh, if those hi hats are not too low, they're not going to listen to it. But if you got your own situation, your own squad, then that's a move. All right, setting the standard as a producer, making your own beats and creating your own lane and staying on it as far as quality over quantity. And when you got your own label, you can do both. You can do anything that they want you to do in the industry. You can do it on your own. And that's why I wanted to get. All right, I'm Anakin 9.5 Beats, man. You heard it first. Hope you enjoyed the show. I'm about to play this, man, then I'm out of here. Yeah, dig.
Sonita Luciana.